Hello, everybody. That's Chrissy.
And this is Ronnie.
And actually, maybe we shouldn't do introductions like that.
Yeah.
That's the last introduction you're getting. If you don't know us by now, you'll never know us. Ooh.
Or something.
We wanted to do some videos on homeschooling, and we thought we'd open up that bit of conversation with why. Why do we homeschool? Or why do we decide to homeschool? Well, there are a lot of reasons why we continue to homeschool. There's fewer reasons why we started homeschooling.
But we're glad we did start homeschooling because it's been an awesome, amazing journey.
Right. Right now, Zoe, our oldest daughter, she went to school for kindergarten and
first grade.
First grade,
We
and
took
after
her out
that,
after first grade.
Yep.
She didn't go back the next year.
Right, yeah. We didn't start off homeschooling because we sort of had the same ideas that everybody else did
Yeah,
about
I mean,
homeschooling.
and really, we didn't know anything about homeschooling.
Right.
We'd never known anybody that was homeschooled. We didn't know really anything about homeschooling, so it wasn't. We just thought we were supposed to send our kids off to school, and so that's what we did.
Yep, and we'd heard all the same old arguments about socialization, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But one of the main reasons, the first reasons, is because we
missed our daughter.
We missed our child.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I was gone a lot for work anyway, but Chrissy was big time missing her child at that point, and I was just beginning to come home and start spending a lot more time at home.
Yeah, when you're sending your kid off to public school, you basically just have a few hours in the evening and then the weekends, and that's all the time that you have with them, and then that's busy with trying to work in homework and
right, and
all that.
That's what it was starting to be. Is she would go to school.
Even in kindergarten and first grade, there was so much to do at home after getting out.
Yeah.
Of school for the day.
Yeah, she would be in school till about 3 o'clock, where Chrissy would go.
3:30.
Chrissy would go and pick her up, and then she'd come home and do a little homework, and then have dinner, and then you just have maybe an hour or two before bedtime.
Yeah, because you've got baths and everything else
right
too. So.
And of course the homework a lot of times gets ramped up for Saturday and Sunday, because I guess they consider the child to have some extra time there. So I approached Chrissy with the idea of homeschooling.
Yeah, he had said, what do you think about homeschooling? And of course, at first I was like, oh, I don't know about that. And I didn't know if I would be able to do it. I didn't, really know anything about homeschooling, how it worked or anything like that. But I said, okay, let's go for it. So.
Right. Well, it wasn't that easy. She was like, I don't have the patience. I don't think I'm smart enough. I don't think I'm a good enough mom. Blah 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 blah. Anyway,
all of the worries that
a
lot of moms go through.
All of the general self-doubt that I'm certainly used to Chrissy having, but but yeah, I mean that was initially the big reason. Another thing is that because of my military service, at that time we were moving around quite a bit. There's once because of coming back home from a deployment, and the second one was because we switched into some military
a
different housing. So yeah, we were moving around quite a bit, like a couple of times in one school year, and like Chrissy and I were like, Zoe can't have this kind of instability. If we're going to have to be moving around anyway, let's just educate her at home.
Another thing, we really like that we can have more influence over our children rather than their peers at school.
Right, that was a big thing. We were starting to notice Zoe picking up habits from her peers. But so whenever your child starts acting out a certain way that their peers think is cool, but you want to keep from happening, they end up living a double life, and they are a certain way at school as that they aren't at home, and vice versa. And we really started to realize and put together the theory that whenever kids go to public school, their peers have a huge hand, maybe sometimes even a bigger hand in their raising than the parents do. And I think me and Chrissy looked back on this a lot and realized that our parents had a secondary position in our formation as people. And that was, to put it simply, we wanted to raise our children, not have 30 other children at the same age as our children raising them. And that was something we picked up on pretty quickly. Another thing that we picked up on pretty quickly was being there for their learning.
Yeah, you know, when your kids are in public school, you miss out on all those moments when they're like all their light bulb moments. You know, when they really get what you've been trying to teach them. And when you homeschool, you get to see all those moments. You get to be there for them. You basically help them to get to that point. So that is a really great thing about homeschooling, as you get to see all their big moments in learning.
Right. And in our experience so far with homeschooled children, and not only our own, because we did introduce them to a co-op setting where they interact with other homeschool children, is that homeschool children tend to have a more mature approach to their to social situations. Right. Generally you don't have one child. A lot of time in a classroom classroom setting, you'll have the strongest personality sort of standing out,
right,
and the other children following along. With homeschool children, it doesn't seem to be the same sort of idea. You know, you might have a kid sort of act a little crazy, and maybe that's okay, but it's not nearly to the level that you might experience in a public school setting.
Yeah. A great thing about homeschooling also is that you have flexibility. Instead of having to wait until your kids are out on vacations or anything like that, you can just pick up and go. You can take a vacation to go to the beach. You can go off to see family members.
A camping trip.
You can take a day to go on a field trip, during the weekday, so that it's not so crowded like in the weekends.
Right. Oh, it's been any number of times that we've taken our children to an amusement park on a weekday, which is the best time.
Much less
it's the best time. You get to ride more rides, just have a lot more time, and we can do that on the fly.
You don't have to stand in line so long because there's
That's
not
right.
so many people there.
We've set up our schedule to where if as long as I'm off work, we can rearrange their schedule in an instant. If there's a sickness, then we can
allow for that,
and we can just pick up where we left off somewhere else.
And our kids really like the fact that they get a vacation day on their birthdays.
Yep. Birthdays are like holidays around here, as well as their Saints' days.
Yeah.
Those end up being holidays too. We have cake and everything, and here it is. All the other kids are at school.
Homeschooling allows your kids to love learning. They, you can teach them in the way that they need to be taught, and they really love to learn.
That's right. There's a lot of in a classroom setting. You have a assembly line teaching technique, and it's nobody's fault. It's the way the system is. There's
one size fits all.
Yeah, one size fits all, and really, whenever you're in a situation like that, there's nothing else they can do besides teaching that way. Mm-hmm. But one of the benefits of homeschooling, in addition to all these others that we're talking about, is that you can determine whether your child is a visual learner, an audio learner, a kinesthetic learner, and adjust your teaching style to that. And any parent will know that each one of their children is different from the other. They're all different. In addition to being able to tailor the child's learning to their learning style, you can also tailor their learning to their interests. We actually use video games for teaching. Sometimes there's a huge community of Minecraft educational resources, which is pretty impressive actually. That a whole community can set up around this video game, in which children can learn almost by accident in the course of playing a game.
Kids really love Minecraft.
Yeah, gosh, they love that game, but.
And also being that their learning is so much less than being at public school, they have more time to focus on their interest and
that's right.
creative play.
That's right. And alternatively, they have more time to focus on things that they're having trouble with
Right.
that we had to, like our son had to. We did a summer reading program with our son because that's his weak point.
He's great at math, but
He's great at math. He's just doesn't have
not
much.
so interested in reading.
No, and it's primarily the problem is it just hasn't much of an interest in it. But so we had to adjust and do a summer program. But because it's us at home, we were. It didn't really put a huge dent in his summer. He had less school than he was used to during the school year, but was still able to work toward where he ought to be in his reading.
Yeah, and another thing is that they're learning all the time. You know, kids are always learning. Even you know, kids who go to public schools is always learning. But with homeschooling, you know, we take every opportunity to teach them.
Right, and outside of an institutional setting.
Right, so they're learning any time, you know, of the day, any day. So
that's right. Yeah. Another thing is that children are able to get enough sleep when they're homeschooled. Adults, any study today will show you that adults don't get enough sleep. Well, we're also doing that to our children with their school schedules because they can't. They have to get up at a certain time, and some children, like I myself, have personally experienced childhood insomnia, and I didn't get enough sleep. It probably stunted my growth. I could be 6 foot tall.
And some kids, you know, they're staying up late and they're doing their homework, and then they're having to get up early and go to school, so they're not getting enough sleep because of that.
Or some sort of anxiety.
Yeah, or some sort of anxiety about maybe a test the next day at school or anything like that.
Right.
The thing about homeschooling is that it allows your kid to get the amount of sleep that they need.
Mm-hmm. In the time since we started homeschooling, a lot of things we have changed and matured and grown as people. And one of the things that we didn't realize that was important in educating our children at home is that we have the opportunity to teach a child our values. We can teach them set definitions about how you should treat other people, and sort of set those things down in stone for them. You know, sometimes it's difficult to teach your child to love their neighbor whenever they have a bully sitting next to them in a classroom.
Right.
So we are capable of setting down these principles with our children, and really that's basically what it boils down to is we can teach children our values from an adult perspective, not try to give them the values they should live by, and then sending them out into the world before they have before the concrete is dried on the foundation.
And, you know, we get to choose when our kids learn about certain things. There's certain things in public schools that they decide to teach your kids at a certain age. And when you're homeschooling, you get to decide when your kid needs to learn about those certain things rather than the school.
That's right.
The
Yeah.
school's deciding that for you.
Or not even the school. I remember learning a lot more than I should have learned
from your peers,
from my peers,
your friends, and
before
at school.
And I mean, I know every cuss word that I know. I learned it all in the 4th grade from my peers, and which started some bad habits in me that I still struggle with. And our children, thanks be to God, don't suffer from that same sort of pressure to act in ways that are beyond their age.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also, you know, kids at school that there's a lot of pressure to wear name brand clothes or certain specific. You know, you've got to have all the cool stuff or whatever, which our kids, you know, they don't know.
As you get to know Zoe, you'll realize this is not the case with her. Zoe's all about comfort.
She's definitely, yeah, and Zoe's, she definitely walks to the beat of her own drum.
Yeah, she's got her own style. And
she's not letting anybody pressure her into anything, so.
Yeah. Now, also, you know, we don't mean to paint the picture so rosier than it is, but it really is. It's probably the best parenting decision that we've ever made is homeschooling. Sometimes it's tough. Sometimes the teacher doesn't feel good. Sometimes the students don't want to listen. Sometimes they think they can pull the especially Ian, especially the dudes, you know, pull out those big blue eyes and try not to. And mommy's got to put her foot down. Sometimes,
which is not always easy.
Sometimes your tween to teen child is a tween to teen child, and you remember why middle school was so horrible. But all in all,
It's been a great decision.
It's
been great for our family.
yeah, hands down the best decision we ever made as parents.
Especially nowadays with all the stuff going on in schools.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, which I think a lot of that stuff was there when we were kids too, but it seems like it's
just wasn't
magnified.
as publicized.
Yeah, it's magnified to a certain degree. But yeah, that's our
Homeschool.
That's our homeschooling story. That's why we started homeschooling. That's why we continue to homeschool, and that's why we think that you, if it's possible, you should homeschool too.
If you have any comments or questions about homeschooling, feel free to leave those below, and we will get back to you with answers.
And more homeschooling videos to come in the future as we come up with ideas and gather together something to say to you. So if you're interested in hearing more about homeschooling from us, please subscribe and have a good one.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.